All right. Hey, it's me. Hi, I'm Christopher Tamlin. I'm the current sitting president of the International Society of Caricature Artists. Welcome to the 2022 recap business meeting happening here March 23rd, 2023 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Without further ado, thank you again. I know these can be really boring to some people, but I'm very grateful for the turnout that we have here today. Looks like we've got 20 people tuned in right now, and we're probably going to pick up more as we go. I just want to make sure, did we hit live? Did we send the broadcast message out? I'm asking our Discord member, our Discord expert. Just want to make sure we get that telegraphed out to the members that we are live.
Yes.
So thank you again for being here. And we're gonna get rolling. We're gonna start off with an update from our new executive director, Caramundi.
Hi y'all, sorry for being a little slow. I got a lot of screens going on right now. Yeah, I wanted to start with membership updates this year. I have a little graph for you on the left-hand side. The light blue is numbers from 2021, and the darker blue is numbers from 2022. You can see that overall we've been pretty steady. Our annual membership, where people pay once a year for a professional membership, was down over $5,000. Our monthly membership to be a professional member was up just over $2,000. But overall, we were down almost $3,000 in membership dues, and our intro members are skyrocketing. We are up 370% in introductory members. Slide, please. These are our con financials. I want to talk about the con financials a little bit before we talk about the overall org financials, so you can understand how these numbers fit into the organization as a whole. Last year, in 2021, in this graph, you can see the previous year, which is 2021. All of those numbers are grayed out, but those are the exact numbers from last year. And on the conference profit and loss 2022, the red, the column that has the negative $9,465, that's loss from the con. Last year, we didn't profit anything, and we lost a lot of money. So one of our goals this year was to make that money back, to put it back into our savings, to have a cushion in case anything happened, especially after going through COVID and going through the pandemic. That really ate away at our safety net and put us in a precarious situation. So one of our goals this year was to make that money back to secure that financial safety. Well, we did a great job, and we actually succeeded in our goal. As you can see on the right-hand side, the column that has the green, we profited $33,000, which is a lot of money. And that wasn't our goal. When we were planning, we didn't plan to make that much money, but what happened was the hotel made a mistake, and because of that mistake, after the con, we were able to go to them and talk to them about it, and they actually helped us by giving us a steep discount that they were not going to do. So they wouldn't let the AV company in on the first day, the original AV company, and so we didn't have power provided to the tables, which some of you may remember. And we had to get another AV company to come in and power any of the tables. And so we thought that this was going to cost us tons and tons of money, because that's what they quoted us, and the other AV company wasn't going to give us a discount on what they weren't able to do. And the hotel was kind of like, we're not going to be able to do anything for you. But after the con, we made a really good impression on the hotel, and they really liked us. And, I told them how much this money was going to hurt us. because we don't have a lot. And they were actually able to work us out a deal, $6,000 from the hotel, $10,000 from the AV company, which is incredible. I'm astounded that they were able to do that for us. But it's not something that's going to continue happening. They were only able to do that for us because of a mistake on their end. And we didn't plan on making that money. So we thought we were going to have to pay that money out, which was great because now it gives us a large safety net for this year coming up. And LA is going to be really expensive. And we're going to kind of go into that a little bit later, why it's expensive. But some other savings that we were able to do this year were Robin is able to produce the awards at cost for us. So she doesn't charge us labor or design. So that's pretty big. And then shipping, Chris and I drove down in the RV this year with all of the stuff, and we didn't have to pay anything to ship stuff down the first to go down. We shipped it back, but we didn't have to pay to ship it to go down to Orlando. So we were able to save a lot of money there. Slide. So now that we talked about the con, let's talk about the organization. This is all of the organization's financials, and all of these numbers are going to be made available to you through the EF blog. So if you are looking at this wishing that you could see more in depth, or if you have any questions about these numbers, please email me. If you have ever emailed me about anything before, I'm ready to tell you all about it, all the nitty-gritty details. But we have our organization, same thing. Year is all grayed out, and then this year is full opacity. Last year, the organization lost $500, but the con lost $9,000. So overall, with the organizational expenses and the con expenses, we lost almost $10,000. That made us kind of nervous. So this year in 2022, we were really careful and trying to figure out how to make that up, how to work forward and gain some financial security. Fortunately, this year, the con did make a substantial profit. However, the organization itself lost $4,500. And what that means is the dues that came in to the organization didn't cover the operational cost of the organization, excluding the con. So when I talked about earlier the organization overall membership dues being down $2,850, part of the reason why we're so red is because we didn't plan to lose that much revenue in our membership. But also, some of that comes from, we are working on our bylaws this year, and we really thought that we needed to dip into our savings a little bit to work on the legal aspects of the organization because they haven't been updated in so long. And we wanted to bring everything up to modern times and modern IRS tax rulings. We're planning to use the profits from 2022 to make up the 2021 losses, but also the large expenses of LA. One of the biggest expenses in LA is $7,000 union fee right off the top. This is a fee that they're requiring from us just to be there. It's unusual and it's something we don't normally pay, but it's a thing that we have to do to have the con in LA. And then in LA, the Wi-Fi in the ballroom is very, very expensive. We actually can only afford 2 days of Wi-Fi, and it's going to be $10,000. So be prepared if you're going to the con this year to have some kind of hotspot or your own internet for, whatever days you might need that for. The internet there is very, very expensive. We're not going to be able to afford more than 2 days. Also, the food prices in LA are very, very high. We're only contracted to spend $25,000 in food and beverage, but the prices are so high that we will likely spend more. And then, of course, the audio visual is also very expensive. They do have a union there that regulates how much things cost and how well the people are being paid, which is great. But we will end up paying for that. One of the last things is that we changed our fiscal year from November 1st to October 30th to the calendar year. And we did that because everything else that we do now operates within the calendar year. So those are the big changes, and those are the financials. And I'm going to pass it off to the next slide.
Kara, thank you so much for your diligence. Yeah, and she wasn't lying when she said she's very good at explaining this to people. She's been explaining financials to us on the board and has just been doing a bang-up job. So thank you again so much, Kara. You mean the world to us and the organization. Now moving on, we just want to touch on the annual post-con survey. We send this out every year and just want to know what people think, how we're doing. So, yeah, this year we actually spiced it up a little bit. We were able to divvy the forum up with one forum, but kind of two separate target groups. One was, how did you like this year's ISCACon? And the other was, if you weren't able to come to ISCACon, tell us why not. So just looking at some of the more interesting points from that so everybody kind of sees the feedback that we're getting. We've got a great mix of people who have either never been to a few, and people who have been to a ton. So that's a great pool that we're pulling from. And looking at the results that we got, the overall experience from ISCACon 31, hey, my magic number is over 90%, and it looks like, if you get 4 and 5s combined above 90%, you're doing a pretty good job. But as always, there's room for improvements. Slide. And looking at some of the things that we, some of the questions we got, one of the things I bring up often, I'm always curious of, is what people think of the length of the conference. I'm always worried about accessibility. Who can come to ISCACon? So I've always been whispering in people's ears, hey, maybe drop a day or two, and you might be able to pick up some more artists who can't afford to come for a full week. And again, when we look at LA, while it's more expensive in some areas, as of last year, we're starting to see our hotel offers come in. LA at I think it's either $119 or $129 a night, when every other hotel is offering, $200, $250 a night. That makes us lean towards saving the members money, because if you're going to rent a hotel for an entire week, LA looks really good with those cheap room rates, despite some of the other costs. So that's why, again, like, the length of the conference is an important metric to me, but looks like everybody likes it pretty much how it is, so no big changes there. We also, every year, we always ask about the awards categories. While this does reflect, of course, that everybody appears that the categories are just right, I will say in the individual comment section, the awards are often the most commented on, that they receive the most creative criticism, and I'd be happy to talk about that later on. But it looks like right now people are happy with the awards, and obviously we are having some discussions about that in the professional members group. I would happily point you there if you want to get in on some of the awards discussions. Please make sure you're checking out the Facebook professional members group and do be a part of those discussions. Slide. So yeah, that was basically 2022 in a nutshell. And we're moving forward. We're really excited about 2023. Slide. And I'm happy to introduce to you your current ISCA Board of Directors. Hello again. I'm Christopher Tamlin. I am the president of the organization. I do plan on this being my last year as president. However, I do not plan on going anywhere as long as I'm reelected. Love to stick around and help. I want to give everybody kind of a chance to. You're going to hear from everybody individually at the end of the meeting. So as I introduce, give a wave. This is Vice President Robin Schwartzman. Secretary Jeremy Martinez is running the slideshow right now, which means he can't have his camera on, but I assure you he is waving his heart out and is very happy to be here. And we've got our treasurer. This is Kelsey Rodfelt. Now, just so everybody knows, originally in November when the election concluded, Ash Stryker was our treasurer. And unfortunately had to step down. It was amicable. She promised us she's not going anywhere. She's not leaving the organization. She still loves to be a huge supporter. So, you know, she couldn't be here today, but rest assured, hi, Ash. We miss you, and we look forward to seeing you in LA. And according to ISCA bylaws, that meant when someone steps down, the ISCA board was able to choose someone to fill in the rest of that term. And we were able to convince Kelsey Rodfelt to join us, and we're very glad that she's here. Thank you again, Kelsey. And again, make sure you guys are all sticking around towards the end because you're going to hear from each of us individually about our goals for the future of the organization. And you guys have, I hope, are well versed with and have just heard from, obviously, Executive Director Kara Mundy. Hi, Kara, you rule. Thank you for all your hard work. And Paige couldn't be here today, but she is the new she was the interim, but now she is the exaggerated features editor. And we're going to learn all about the exciting changes that we've made to EF and all the things Paige and the E&E committee are working on. So welcome to the board. You guys rule. Thanks for being here with me. And we're going to go slide. Now, this was one of the big things we've started in the last couple of years. We've got committees up and rolling. Now, we're learning as we go. We dropped a couple of the ad hoc committees we had last year, brought in as a full, back to full board discussions. But I think committees are making great progress. Going over them, we're going to start with the committee I'm chairing is the Education and Engagement Committee. This is basically a program committee for the organization. What we're handling is we're handling EF. There's me and Paige Gandara-Valderas, and we are making sure that the EF blog and EF content is coming at a steady pace. We're going to get more into that into those EF changes in a little bit, and we are making sure that Caricature Barbecue actually has been brought into this. We're going to go over those changes in a little bit. And I just want to say we're always looking for content and assistance and wonderful things to share with our members. So if you are at all interested in becoming a part of this committee, please, or if you just have ideas of stories you want to see or of stories you want to write or contribute, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Paige, either via email, Facebook Messenger, however you want to get to me. Please, I encourage you to do so. Passing that on, I'm going to go to Kelsey for the onboarding committee.
Thank you, Chris. I am the chair of the onboarding committee. We currently have a few spots open on our committee. The other member that is there with me right now is the fabulous and wonderful Lauren Burnson. We are in charge of taking care of any new members that join ISCA. So one of the projects we've been working on is revising and revamping our welcome email when new members join, making sure that they get all the information they need to be onboarded into our organization as seamlessly as possible and have access to everything that they need. And then the other main portion of our committee responsibilities is onboarding in terms of new con attendees, and also, of course, supporting our returning attendees as well. So we have lots of ideas for this year and lots of things that we're working on currently, and we would love to have another happy brain or two on our committee to help us get those things finalized and rolled out. So if you do have interest in helping us out with the onboarding committee and making sure that we're opening up that communication to new members, please contact me or Lauren Burnson, or you can send an email to Kara as well, and she can forward that on to me. I will hand it off to Robin for social media.
Thank you, Kelsey. So I'm currently the chair of the social media committee, and the other committee members are the wonderful Jeremy Martinez, Eric Rowdy Roadfelt, Don Pinsent, Sarah Hanghartz, and Alania Menace. And Eric and Don have been doing an incredible job of keeping our biweekly ISCA members Facebook contest running super smoothly. So thank you, Eric and Don. Jeremy, Sarah, Don, Eric, and myself worked really hard behind the scenes for the entire month of January to share caricature resolution posts twice a day for the entire month, which is the best time of year in my opinion. So I hope that you all enjoyed seeing those posts. And then the whole team has been putting out our weekly content with a focus on our regular hashtags, such as our Masters Mondays, Tutorial Tuesdays, Winter Wednesdays, and Fan Art Fridays, as well as discussing bigger picture social media goals and ideas. And the social media committee looks forward to continuing to celebrate caricature through our social media accounts, as well as strategizing and implementing new ways to grow our audience and our reach. So we are currently full. We don't have any open seats, but I will let you know if we do. In the meantime, thank you to the entire committee. And with that, I will pass it on to, sorry, I can't see my screen here, to Jeremy from the graphics committee.
Thank you, Robin. I'm the new chair for the graphics committee. We deal with anything that's graphics heavy content for ISCA, including the lovely new ISCACon logo. I'm very happy with how that turned out. The graphics committee consists of Eric Rowdy Rofeld, Ash Stryker, and Katie Green, and they're all wonderful designers. We have a lot of stuff we're working on behind the scenes. Right now, there's currently no open availability, but definitely, if you have any ideas or want to talk to me, for any suggestions or such, please feel free to reach out. With that, I will pass it on to Kara.
Hi, y'all. I am the chair of the budget committee. It's an internal committee, and it is dedicated to working on the budget of the organization and the con, and to really understand those numbers, where every dollar is going, where it's coming from, and understanding the trends, the goals ultimately of the budget for the organization, really to help us strategically plan. And like I was talking about before, you'll hear me say this a lot, our financial security and stability. It's one of my number one goals. So that committee isn't accepting anybody outside of the board, but the governance and admin committee I'm also the chair of, and that committee is open to members outside of the board. And basically that committee is to work on maintaining the healthy development and the operation of the board, the committees, individual board members, and to monitor the governance and compliance of the organization, and as well as the administrative operations. So if you're into that sort of logistical type stuff, and you're interested in being on a committee or getting to know the organization on a deeper level, then please reach out to me. We're looking for more professional members to be a part of the committee. And I'm going to pass it off to Chris.
And I'm actually going to say slide and pass it off to Vice President Robin Schwartzman, who's going to go over the awesome social media team's hard work.
Okay, so we kicked off 2023 with the beloved Caricature Resolution. Caricature Resolution is in partnership with ISCA, so the Caricature Resolution team creates the list, they run all the Caricature Res accounts, and ISCA partners with them to also share out as much artwork as we possibly can. And so this year, Ewan McTavish, well, the team is Ewan McTavish, Patrick Martinez, and Maria Picasso-Piquet. And this year, Ewan created this amazing list. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, the theme was famous historical figures who have had biopics or documentaries created about them, and then the actors who played them. And we had hundreds of participants from around the globe throughout the month, and over 100 of them were active ISCA members. We got 700 new Instagram followers, which is really exciting. And we look forward to continuing Caricature Resolution for as long as the Caricature Resolution team wants to continue it. And we know it's a favorite amongst everyone, including myself. So if you want to learn more, you can head over to caricature.org/resolution. And that's all I got on that. So thanks everyone for following along this year in January. And with that, we'll go next slide and pass it back to Chris for an exaggerated features update.
Woo! I just want to say, talk about favorite time of the year. Looking at those huge Insta growth numbers, the reach, seeing the community united in such a way. That's such an important thing that our social media committee does. Thank you, of course, to Robin and for running that committee, and thank you to the whole committee for making that happen. It's huge. It's such a massive thing, and it's a delight to see. So thank you for your hard work. They will undersell it and say it's no big deal sometimes, but trust me, they put in a massive amount of work to do those daily posts. So thank you. And now, this is something that personally really excites me. One of the things you'll hear me say a lot is A, adding value to membership, and B, ISCA as a resource, not just ISCA-Con, but ISCA as a resource for caricature and caricature artists. So exaggerated features, one of the things people know ISCA for. We've actually made its next big upgrade. Exaggerated features started out with the first year of the NCN, and it was just a stack of Xerox paper stapled together and then taped shut and shoved in a mailbox. And I've held some of them in my hands. They're amazing. And then, later on down the line, it became a newspaper format. And then after that, it became a magazine. And now here in 2023, we're taking exaggerated features to that next step. So the way you've known it before is exaggerated features was a quarterly magazine printed twice a year, put out twice digitally, and also it served as the newsletter for the organization. What we have done is we've actually split the duties of exaggerated features into two things. Now, you've got the ISCA quarterly newsletter, which is an email format, comes out every quarter. You're going to see your first one here at the beginning of April. And the thing is now, the newsletter is able to go to all of our members. Before, the magazine would only go to the professional members, which was maybe 250, 300 people, and putting all that effort and all that money, I'm going to say EF in the last couple of years averaged about $15,000 to $17,000 to produce, and that's only 2 printed issues and 2 digital issues. And it was almost taking up about half of our annual operating budget. So that's huge. It's a tremendous amount of money to be putting towards something that only goes to 250, maybe 300 people. So now the newsletter aspect of EF goes out to all members, including introductory members. And what that's going to do is it's going to feature important updates about the organization, ISCA and ISCA-Con. It's going to have current caricature events and stories relating to caricature. And it's going to have previews of pro-member content. So ISCA is going to stay in your mind all year long while we deliver content to you. And we're going to get into that aspect here in a minute. But what changing into that email quarterly format does is it further positions ISCA as a definitive resource for caricature artists. We're not just putting on ISCA-Con. We are here to help the community. We are here to share news. You're going to see us advertising events for people, things outside of ISCA-Con. If someone's having a workshop, we're happy to spread that news and become the one-stop go-to for everything caricature related. Slide. Now, and as far as the content that you're used to from Exaggerated Features as a magazine, you've got the Exaggerated Features blog, which is now live and available on caricature.org. We've been going at it since January is when we launched it. It's caricature.org/blog. You will have to be signed in as a professional member to do that. Again, this is adding value to that professional membership. So that content that you were used to getting in the magazine is still coming to you. It's just a slight change in delivery. And why does the blog format work a little better? Because it allows us to give you that content as we have it available. One of the drawbacks of that magazine format was, say, last year when NFTs, everybody had questions about NFTs, and Debo was doing this awesome article that we ended up putting out later. She was doing this awesome article talking with people who are for and against and pros and cons. And we had that ready, but in order to get it out to people, we had to wait for the rest of the content to come in and then be designed to go into a magazine format. So, that content came out, that article came out about 3-4 months too late, even though she had it done and it was ready, had to wait for the magazine format. So now, we can create articles, you can send in articles, and we can get it to the members instantly. We advertise it on social media. It says, hey, new blog post alert, goes out to our 10,000 followers, almost 11,000 now. And even if you aren't a pro member, you see that feed that ISCA is working on content. So ISCA stays as a part of your mind outside of ISCACon. It adds value to the membership. And for those of you who are like, hey, wait, I love the printed aspect, I love getting that magazine. Well, we're not doing the magazine anymore, but the printed aspect's not going anywhere. So what we're doing now is we're printing an annual compendium of all the content that happens throughout the year. So as Paige is doing these monthly updates, at least monthly, sometimes they're 2 or 3 articles a month, especially right now where we're doing content and also we're releasing speaker videos on the blog from this last year's con, again, professional member exclusive. She's formatting these into an annual compendium, and that printing price is included in your professional membership, and you can either pick it up at the con free of cost, and it's covered by your membership, or if you can't make the con or you don't want to pick it up at the con, you can opt in to pay the shipping, and this saves the organization so many thousands of dollars. So you're still getting the content, and you still have that option for the compendium if you like a nice printed soft cover book to go on your shelf that highlights an entire year in caricature. So whereas before you were getting 2 printed issues, now all of the content is getting printed for you. So that's the exciting stuff about EF. If you have questions, if you want to contribute, again, me and Paige are wide open and would love to talk to you more about it. And I'm going to call that good on that update and say slide. The 2023 ISCA membership tiers, we've made some big changes to them in the past. We like those changes. They seem to really work. Like you saw, those intro numbers are way up. We're able to reincorporate people who may have forgotten about ISCA and ISCACon, and now we are reaching over 1,600 members when you include our free introductory members, which again are getting that newsletter and staying active as a part of the community. Small changes to the pro membership. We just went over the EF overhaul, and there's also, we just made a policy change that the seminar videos from past ISCACons, it'd be Mailbox Mayhem, Las Vegas, and this last year in Orlando. The last 3 years are pro member only. Those aren't available anywhere else other than on caricature.org as a pro member. Again, we're adding value to your membership outside of ISCACon. And of course, if you're here, so you must love the organization. And as we were talking about earlier, ISCACon does not exist without ISCA, the organization, and what pays for ISCA, the organization, to exist is your membership dues by being a professional member. So I beg you, make sure your dues are up to date. If they are not, feel free to visit caricature.org, click join us, or we've got a little QR code for you right here, take you right there. Make sure those pro member dues are up to date. Make sure you're getting these awesome benefits. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Kara Mundy, and she's going to talk about membership renewal.
Kara, we can't hear you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're good now.
I'll start over. Last year we decided to make all of our memberships recurring memberships. So you have a few choices. You can either be an annually paying professional member, or you can be a monthly paying professional member. And we made it so that the annual membership is always due on October 1st for everyone. Everybody has the same renewal date. And this does a couple of things for us. One, the recurring payments are helpful to retain members so that they don't lapse and then forget to renew, and then, trying to figure it back all out. Should be able to just reoccur and, set it and forget it. Also, it helps us with knowing how much we can budget for the year. All of our members renew on the same day, a large portion of them, then we know almost how much money we're going to have the next year, how much we have to spend, and how far we can go. So annual members, they're renewed on October 1st. Monthly members, they're renewed on the 1st of every month. And both of these membership types are prorated if you're a new member. So if you join halfway through the year, you don't have to pay for the entire year. You just pay for what's left. And the same thing for the month. I think it's about halfway through the month it's prorated down to, depending on how many days you have left. There is a glitch in the system currently where if you're an existing member who changes your membership, sometimes it will charge you the full amount. This is something that I monitor and keep an eye on. If it happens, I go in and refund it. It takes a couple of days. It takes a couple of days for me to see it, and it takes a couple of days for that refund to go through. So if you're overcharged, it's something that I am looking for and making sure it's not happening. Slide.
Thank you, Kara. ISCA 32, Los Angeles. We've never been to LA before. Wow, so much to say about this. First of all, we're super duper excited. One of the things, LA was a hard one to finally commit to. First of all, we've never, in my knowledge, ever been offered it. Again, it's always been kind of this grail that we couldn't reach. It's always been too expensive. And obviously we love it because we have a tremendous amount of artistic talent to pull from, caricaturists and animators, and that overlap, and we're going to see that. We can't wait to start sharing speakers with you. That's going to be coming in April. We've just got to put a couple of finalizations on some contracts, and we're going to have some really exciting announcements coming soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm here to tell you here today, make sure you're getting registered early as possible. It's one of the things we see. We're not we're not trying to be hateful, but we give discounts for early registration because it helps us plan the con so much better. So the tiers here is, we want you to get in on early registration now, which is good through July 1st. After that, you're going to start seeing those $75 increases with each stage of registration that passes. Standard registration is $475, and that ends October 7th. If you're not interested in saving the first $75, that's up to you. But I will say October 7th is a very, very, very important date for you to remember, because if you do not register by October 7th, we're not going to be able to order a t-shirt for you, and we're not going to be able to have a swag bag necessarily ready for you. So make sure you're registered by October 7th. And things like that, why we're doing that stuff now, Kara brought up earlier how we saved so much money in shipping. Yes, we were able to bring all that stuff down to Orlando and save a ton of money, but where we also saved money on our shipping budget was we did a clearance sale on all of our things. We used to order extra t-shirts to have it covered if people registered after the t-shirt cutoff date. But here's what happens is we end up with this massive overflow of overstock, and then that stock ends up having to be shipped back and forth to, both where the executive director lives and goes in their storage, and then it goes back to the next con for sale, and eventually we start losing massive amounts of money in shipping this t-shirt and extra swag. So that's why we're doing this hard cutoff now, October 7th. If you want to get that extra stuff, stand up, be counted, be registered, and get your, you'll get your t-shirt, you'll get your swag bag, and you're going to get your EF compendium. So make sure October 7th. Now, another couple changes here we've got is this year we do have a child registration fee. We're doing child registration because the hotel charges us child registration, and it always has. We've just always overlooked it. But as we look to turn the organization to something a little more fiscally solvent, we have to. So children ages 3 to 11 are $100 to pay. The hotel charges us per head, and they deem children 3 to 11 are cost money. So we do have to charge this year. Please go to caricature.org. And when you click on ISCACon, you will be able to see both our new child and pet policies. So those are important policies for you to read. And also, again, it's a tremendous amount of work and effort for those last minute registrants. So if you're one of those people that shows up on the day, we do have to charge an additional $100 late fee, and that doesn't really cover the amount of work that goes into those same day. This was kind of the compromise. We thought about actually ending registration as of November 6th and saying if you're not registered, then you can't come. But this was the compromise, and so we've got to charge that $100 extra. So moral of the story, ultimately, in the end, is register today for ISCACon 32. And that's what I've got for you. And stay tuned to all of our social media platforms at ISCA Caricatures, especially Insta. And we will be keeping you up to date on further announcements. And trust me, they're exciting and they're big. I will go ahead and call slide. And now we are going to go into get to know your board members. Hi again. Christopher Tamlin, President, and I'm just going to talk about my 2023 goals here. I am, of course, obviously excited to continue to work closely with the ISCA Executive Director and the board to create new and refine past ISCA policies for long-term health of the organization. This time last year at the business meeting, I was talking about how important it was to me that we update the bylaws because they hadn't been touched since 2008. And whether or not we liked it, by the time this current board was sitting down, the processes had changed so much that they weren't following the bylaws. So we spent the year, took the governance and admin committee about 6 months, and we actually redid the bylaws to cover more how ISCA actually operates now. And those are currently under review by nonprofit lawyers in Texas, which is where the organization is registered with the IRS. And when it comes to ISCACon and ISCACon policies and ISCA as an organization, we've always said our mantra kind of behind the scenes has been the goal is cruise control. We want the board, we want this board and we want future boards to be able to come in and know that things are smooth sailing and that they don't have to worry about reinventing the wheel every single year. So that is something that we will continue to work hard together as a team on. And again, another thing you will hear me constantly say is maintain a focus on ISCA as a professional resource. Not just ISCACon. I want us to be bigger, and I want us to be bigger than just our conference. I know the con is very important, and it's the biggest thing we do, but also ISCA, we are in an age where ISCA can be there for you year-round as a community that unites us together. That's why we're having awesome things like the EF blog and the ISCA newsletter to keep us going. We started for barbecue over the pandemic. We had a ISCA caricature event calendar so people knew when the next barbecue was going to happen. We're bringing that back as a part of the newsletter so that you can add that to your Google Calendar and you can be aware if you have something to promote or you want to see what's going on in April. You can see, hey, look, someone's having caricature camp in March. Hey, look, Tom Richmond's doing a workshop. We want to be that definitive professional resource. We're bringing Caricature Barbecue back as a quarterly event. We're going to have some professional member only parts to that before, it'll be probably maybe a half hour or an hour before it opens up to the public like it always is. That adds value to that professional membership. We're going to have some special guests, and we're looking forward to announcing those soon for Caricature Barbecue. And of course, I'm going to continue to seek exclusive demos and discounts for members. I already have some stuff underway, and looking forward to announcing that soon. Last year we were able to do it with guest of honor Paul Moyse. He was able to give us discounts for professional members on his new caricature course, and I loved that, and I think it adds value to your professional membership. So I'm going to continue to keep doing that. Go ahead and slide, please, Jeremy. And let's see here. Yes, of course, it's something you're seeing right now. I'm going to try and create more instances for open and constructive communication among the membership about the goals and future of ISCA and ISCACon. And you'll hear me also say that a lot, just as a side note. ISCA and ISCACon, I think it's very important to differentiate the two because it puts that emphasis on making sure your membership dues are up to date, because ISCACon can't exist without ISCA, the organization. But you're going to see me open up these instances for letters from the president in the newsletter and also blog posts. But one thing, when we make major changes, I also try to take those highlights from the letter from the president and put those in the professional member group on Facebook so that I can hear it. I and the board can hear your feedback on these policies and changes that we make moving forward. And lastly, I said it at the beginning that I do plan on stepping down, although I plan on hopefully being reelected to the board. I think leadership is important an important torch to be passed. So I'm also preparing for my long-term personal goals and how to assist the organization post-presidency. And one of the things I'm planning on doing is to continue to work with the E&E committee. That's kind of been my most exciting passion project. Again, working for ISCA as a professional resource, and how that committee does that, I'm really excited about. And also refocusing more of my energy back onto the ISCA Wiki project, which, if you don't know about, wiki.caricature.org. We've got the last 10 years of exaggerated features up, searchable, and available to browse. It's a great resource for caricature artists, and I want to get the next 20 years behind that also added to that. So once I have some more time, we'll be able to refocus that energy on that. Thank you. It's super exciting to be here. Thank you to the rest of the board. Thank you to all of you. And I'm going to pass the torch on to Vice President Robin Schwartzman.
Thank you, Chris, so much for all that you do. Yes, having served on the board for hopefully going into 5 years, pending re-election, what I've really learned is that the board does a lot. Sometimes what almost feels like too much, especially being volunteers, to keep the organization running and to plan and execute ISCACon. Of course, it's not a complaint. We do this because we love doing it. We love this organization and community. But over this time, I've really been working hard with all my fellow board members and our lovely executive director to streamline policies and our standard operating procedures so that we're super organized and on task to make sure that everything that needs to happen happens. So instead of moving into this coming year with really lofty goals and new exciting ideas, I'm really focusing on continuing to uphold and amplify the ISCA mission as well as our core values so that we can continue to build our celebratory, welcoming, and professional community of professionals. We've been working really hard towards more transparency and communication from the board to all of you, our members, through more frequent emails, social media posts, using the professional members group on Facebook, all of these to disseminate information. And I'm going to work to continue to do this and keep making our communication better and better. As I mentioned before, the board does a lot. Budgets, bylaws, membership benefits, updates, con planning, which is a whole thing in and of itself, sponsorship, social media, website updates, branding and graphics, creating content for exaggerated features, editing exaggerated features, all the other things that come up, tough discussions and conversations. So as Chris said, we're working on what we call ISCA cruise control so that being a board member is exciting but also sustainable. And we can get as many of you, our wonderful members who are possibly interested in serving on the board, to feel like that's a realistic effort. And we want you to come join us and be part of this team. And of course, I will continue to work towards making sure that our organization is in a good fiscal situation and thinking about the long-term health of the org. And lastly, I want to make sure that you, our members, feel empowered to contribute your thoughts and voice, whether it's through surveys, discussions, volunteer roles, whether it's at ISCACon or committee positions. And I've also have been working and will continue to work towards having a diversity of speakers at ISCACons whose different views and perspective represent the many facets of our community. So I will wrap it up there and pass it along to, oh God, who's our next slide? Is it Jeremy?
Hey, thank you, Robin. Yes, so hi everybody once again. This is my first year on the board, and this is my third year being part of ISCA. This last ISCACon was my first in-person ISCACon, and it was a lot of conversations I was really happy to have about past ISCACons and what's in store, for the near future. So along with that, I considered that when I was doing my 2023 goals. And so a big thing for me is that, once I discovered ISCA, even just doing the, mailbox mayhem and meeting everybody online those first couple of years, it was such an amazing thing to meet like-minded individuals that, pursue the same artistic endeavors as I did. And so I feel like we needed to, constantly just keep putting more of it out there, keep promoting. So one of my first goals here is continue to find ways to encourage and promote community activity and participation while ISCA members knew where I'm going. So along with promoting, getting more people in, I want to figure out more activities for the current members. As it's been said a couple times here, being part of ISCA, I want this to be a fun activity for everybody. I want you guys to feel welcome. I want, everybody to have fun talking with each other and finding different things that we can all connect over through the art of caricature. Along with that, always providing transparency and communication for us here on the board. If anybody ever has any, ideas, suggestions, or, needs to talk or what have you, I want you to know, there's a safe space here, and I always want you to feel encouraged to message me or anybody else here on the board. I also hope to continue to explore and expand on creative ideas to help promote ISCA to non-member artists. The last couple of years, I helped behind the scenes with Robin and everybody else doing character resolution, and I'm also helping with the revitalized character barbecue and I'm hoping that we can get some more ideas out there to continuously pull more people in. It's been wonderful, especially like this last year's character resolution. I have a lot of, on my own social media, I have a lot of artist friends that discovered ISCA through the promoting of this, that whole month's event, which is wonderful. Like to be able to show people of our different, communities what we're about, and how wonderful it is to be a part of this. So, yeah, I hope to continue to strive to learn everything I can in this first year on the board. Please feel free once again to reach out to me at any point in time, even if it's just a conversation about, what you hope to get from ISCA, or, what have you, anything about characters. So, I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to our treasurer, Kelsey.
Thanks, Jeremy. So as Chris mentioned at the beginning of the meeting tonight, I am brand new to the board. Happy to be here. Glad to lend a hand and another voice to this whole process. Having said that, I've been through 2 board meetings, so still catching up. So the goals that I've outlined, I've kind of split into 2 different categories. So first, I am obviously wanting to continue learning more about the organization, how we tackle each of these functions, where else I can offer more support and more understanding with what we're setting up, and getting towards that goal of cruise control. One of the other big things that I have noticed a change in over the last few years in particular, but something that I think we definitely need to keep working on, is the transparency and communication. I know a few of us have mentioned that already, but I do feel that it's very important for our members to fully understand what's going on. I know, thank you, Lauren. I know that we have been trying to do our best to share as much information as we can, and I think that it's critically important that all members know what happens outside of ISCACon. There's a lot of feedback that ISCA is the con, and that's not at all accurate. So giving everybody a better window into what actually happens behind the scenes, I think, is extremely beneficial for everyone. I also want to support each and every one of our members to the best of my ability. I come to this with a little bit different perspective. I'm not a traditional artist. I help out on the business side of things, but I am not doing gigs and that kind of work. And I also do have a background in HR. So I come with that voice to a lot of these discussions and bringing those kinds of ideas and different thought processes to the table. So I want to be available to people that need a safe space, or if anyone has different opinions, concerns, anything you need, discussions you want to have, please know that I am a fully judgment-free zone, and I would love to be that resource for you. Jeremy, if you want to go to the next slide for me. Thank you so much. The other part of my goals are focused on the 2 committees that I am part of. So on the budget committee, obviously, our goal is to make sure that we're financially sound and that we are viable long-term. So I am learning more and more about all of our numbers and making sure that we are on the right path in that respect as well. I want to take a brief minute here to give all of the kudos possible to Kara, who has done a ridiculously incredible amount of work in the background, taking all of these numbers that were kind of not in the right places and creating all of the necessary buckets that we need them to be in. She has created spreadsheets and formulas and schedules, and it's been an amazing amount of work. So if you talk to Kara at any point in time, send her a little happy message, give her a high five. She is absolutely phenomenal. And we could not be getting anywhere near this idea of cruise control without Kara's support and skill in everything that she's been doing. So thank you, Kara. The other committee that I'm on is the onboarding committee. And as I talked about earlier, we are providing as much information and all of the resources that we possibly can to new members. And the other half of our mission is to work on the ISCA Con attendees, making sure that people that are attending the con for the very first time know where to go, what to expect, how it's going to go, how everything works. And there's always something different year to year, even for people that are returning attendees to the con. So we want to make sure that all of that information gets out to returning attendees as well. So again, a little sales pitch. If you're interested in onboarding activities, please let me know. We'd love to have you as part of our committee with Lauren and I to keep that ball rolling forward as well. With that, I am going to hand it off to Chris, and we're going to jump into our Q&A section.
Hey, everybody. We are going to go ahead and we're going to end the slideshow portion so Jeremy Martinez can join us. Thank you. That's the slideshow. We are going to open up for Q&A. We haven't done this on Discord before, so if there are some technical hiccups, please bear with us. Kara is kind of the most knowledgeable, I feel, on the technical aspect of Discord. Kara, do you want to fill us in on how we're going to proceed? Kara, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I have to mute
Kara, by the way, is running like 3 screens, recording and doing everything. So she has got a lot going on. So don't.
my mic has to be muted, the actual device. Otherwise, the recording will pick up everything in my room, even when I'm not speaking. So I kept forgetting. So if you have a question you would like to ask the board, you can either type it in the chat if you're feeling a little shy, but if you'd like to speak on the stage, you can click. There's a button somewhere on your device, probably on the bottom part of Discord, or on the top right-hand corner, there's a little hand with 3 stripes. If you press that, it'll allow us to accept you onto the stage. Hopefully.
Oh, I see some folks typing. So, can't wait to see. The ISCA YouTube channel. Last post looks like it was a few years ago. Okay. The ISCA YouTube channel, because of most of those videos are for professional members only. So if you are a professional member and haven't, you can either request to be added as a subscriber on YouTube itself, or any videos that we have on there are available on caricature.org. We'd actually rather you watch those videos through caricature.org. So if you see, if you go sign in as a professional member, you can go to the seminars page, you can go to the exaggerated features blog, and that's where you're going to find those most recent videos from us. Thanks for the question, Doodle Mick.
Do you have a question? I was able to invite onto the stage since the hand's working. Meaton. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Ed Steckley said, not a question, but a comment. I just want to note that it's been great to see the organization moving forward. I was on the board a lifetime ago, and seeing the progression of the organization is truly inspiring. To you and the previous boards, know that your work is inspiring. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much for that, Ed. That means a lot coming from you, not only as a distinguished illustrator and past board member, but also Ed, I believe, is still helping run things over at the NCS, the National Cartoonist Society. and they're doing amazing things over there. So thank you. Thank you, Ed. That really does mean a lot. You guys are doing awesome work. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, Lauren, former ISCA president Lauren Burnson says, "I propose a membership dues increase." Does someone want to start the discussion on that point? It is something we review every January. This year, I personally have a hard time with it. It's kind of a bit of a catch-22. Because in order for it to cost more, we feel like the value needs to be justified. So right now we're working on justifying that value to make sure, because people tend to ask like, oh, well, yeah, I get what it's for, but what do I get from it? And we're working, before any sort of increase needs to happen, we need to be able to answer that question, what do I get for it? Like if we bumped it to 125. And right now we really like that appealing $95, keeps it under 3 digits. But I personally would rather see more members at 95 than fewer members at 150. But I mean, it's definitely, it's reviewed every year. That's just my personal stance on it. Does anyone else on the board want to make a comment about that?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, Chris, which is that, yeah, we revisit membership dues every January, so we will look at where our budget and fiscal situation, is at next January at this time and see, like, between legal fees and other operating costs, and membership, current membership, just what makes sense. But we are keeping a close eye on it, and I appreciate that suggestion. Of course, more money to keep the org running is a wonderful thing, but yeah, at the same time, we do want to keep it affordable so that we can have as many professional members as possible. So it's just finding that balance, but we will keep watching those numbers.
One of the most common emails I get is about membership dues, why they've increased, why they're not getting more magazines mailed to them. So part of that feedback that we get in email, because I'm the number one person that people talk to when they cancel a membership or when they're deciding whether or not they want to be a member. And some of those major concerns are, I don't want to pay money if I'm not going to get a physical thing. And so we would love to be able to have a higher membership due if majority of the people are willing to pay. But there is a concern that we need to keep it affordable for everybody.
And to piggyback off of what Kara just said, I think that it's known to the current board and previous boards that, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people equate ISCA with the con, and that's what ISCA is. So I do know, and I know that we all fully recognize that part of the process of all of this with the membership and membership dues is making sure that everyone is aware of the benefits that do come with that professional membership. And I don't know that has been clearly identified for enough people to really build that value. So that is one of those things, along with the transparency that we've all talked about, that we are trying to build, so that if there are increases in dues, that we are providing enough benefit for that people can see as a readily available item along with their membership.
Yeah, great question. I mean, hey, I love any suggestion that feeds helps feed the administrative part of ISCA. One thing I will just make a kind of an off the cuff comment here, but both our EF editor and our executive director are both vastly underpaid. for the amount of work that they do. I'm not going to get into the specific numbers right here, but I will just say that the executive director position, since it was started, I think in at least 2003, has not had a single raise. The work has gone up, but the pay has not. So that's one of those things. The goal, again, why it's really important to me for people to distinguish the difference between ISCA Con and ISCA is they're two separate cost sets. The con should be making money to pay for itself, and the con should be turning a profit to then feed into ISCA, the administration, so that it can pour money into pour money is probably a bad choice of words, but so that it can easily fund its own savings account, B, paying its executive director and its exaggerated features editor a decent wage, and also though to put more funds into special projects. One of the things that I don't think that I will be able to realize on my time on the board, just because it's fiscally not possible yet, is I would love to see ISCA become essentially the equivalent of the Got Milk campaigns that a lot of us might remember from the late 90s, early 2000s. I think we could stand. It might be worth $5,000. I think if we did do an ad buyout for an ad read on comedy podcasts like Conan O'Brien or some other such thing that gets people who are obviously interested in humor to be like, if we can advertise caricature.org as either A, are you interested in being a funny illustrator? Come to caricature.org and check out all of our resources. Or B, are you someone who books parties for your, you like funny stuff and you are in charge of booking your company's holiday party? Go to caricature.org and support your local caricature artist. And that's how we're going to find and reach and grow as an organization. But again, those are things. ISCACon needs to make money to go into the administration before we can do anything like that. So that's why I tend to get on people when they say, "Are you going to ISCA this year?" And I say, "No, you're going to ISCACon." I'll stop there.
We have a question from Natalie that says, what is the next step for ISCACon 2023 and censorship and flagged artwork? So I'm going to take an opportunity to talk about this in depth because it was such a big concern last year, and because the administration and logistics of that are typically part of my job. So one of the things is that if artwork breaks the rules of the competition, then it will be disqualified. If artwork skirts the line of what we think children should be able to see, then it will probably be asked to be censored. One of the things that we are working on is consent as far as this type of artwork goes. And this year, when people register, we're asking them if they're over 18 and if they consent to being in mature content. And we're going to make sure that this is on people's badges this year, really identifiable, so that artists don't approach somebody and ask them if they can draw them in a way that may make them uncomfortable, and that person may feel obligated to say yes even if they don't want to. So this will help with that consent part of this type of artwork. However, with all artwork for the competition, it has to follow the rules, and it's up to the board to decide when they make the rules, and then they have to decide whether that art follows the rules or not. So during art moderation, what happens is the board is handed a slip of paper that says, here are all the rules and regulations for the competition. Go and look at all the walls, and if you think it needs to be flagged because it breaks a certain rule, write the number down. And then after the board comes back at looking at all the walls, they go through each piece and discuss whether or not that piece needs to be censored, if it needs to be removed, or if something needs to happen with it. Yeah, Chris.
So I just want to add a point there. It wasn't just the board that did the moderation. We also had an independent panel of non-board members doing the moderation, who were, again, and when we talk about the rules, it's not just about content-wise. It's things like going over the line. Does your artwork cross the blue tape? When we talk about the rules, we mean all the rules, not just artistic content rules. And there was an independent group of moderators that did the moderating before the board came to it. I just think that's an important distinction to make.
Yes. So we worked really hard last year to make sure that we had a very wide range of folks checking out the work. And if you're interested in being a part of that art moderation, picking out the walls, then please let me know for ISCACon 20 or 32 coming up year. I will put you on the art moderation team. The only thing is it's up to the board to discuss those pieces. So even if you're on the art moderation team, you just get to point out walls or pieces that you think have broken the rules. The board themselves vote on what needs to happen with that wall or piece. And sometimes the answer is nothing. And sometimes the answer is being censored. And sometimes the answer is that piece being removed.
And I just want to chime in and say censored in the terms of oftentimes that just means putting a content warning, like a piece of paper over the work so that viewers can opt in and choose whether or not they want to view the piece. So it's not censor in the sense of, it's totally gone. It's just, if it's inappropriate for children under the age of 18 to view, or it's, potentially triggering, it's just a content warning, so people can opt in. And I do want to say it is not the goal of the board to censor artwork. We encourage you to share your artwork on your own social media platforms, on your own portfolios, wherever. However, ISCACon is a competition with a set of rules and regulations, like any competition, that we ask everyone to read and agree to before creating competition artworks. So if the artworks break the rules laid out in the competition rules and regulations, the board does have to discuss and vote on whether or not these pieces can stay in.
And again, thank you for that. Totally agree, Robin and Kara. And the other thing with the creation of artwork is what we tend to talk about is whether or not it makes it to the wall finally. The reason why these rules exist is, again, ISCA's an all ages event, and it's not just about the public gallery showing, it's not just about the voting time. We have people bringing their children and watching art being created. So that's another reason why these rules are in place is, some people might be cool with their kids seeing some stuff, and some people might not. It really is it's an issue that we as an organization have to deal with both morally and legally of what we're showing to people under the age of 18.
I think another big part of it, especially this last year, was the first time that we had opened up the ballroom to the general public. And as part of that process, something that the board also needs to consider in that situation is if we are sharing what ISCA is to the rest of the public, what do we want to present to the public? What do we want them to see ISCA as? So there is artwork that may be flagged for things and may fall into some of those categories, and that is another thing that comes into that equation is we're welcoming the general public who also may be bringing children under the age of 18, and what is that impact on our organization as a whole, depending on what artwork is posted throughout the room.
I just wanted to chime in
as well as
a planning perspective as well. Although liability with the hotel is not our main concern, is really not something that we really harp on, there is a small concern that the hotels could not like that content and say that we could not go back to that hotel again, which of course is not good for us, just because, as many of the board members know, booking hotels and dealing with the hotels is already very, very complicated. And if we remove options, especially options that are really affordable for us and affordable for the members, that's not good. So we just need to be careful to make sure that we're creating a good environment for everybody and making sure that we're not losing our ability to have the con for everyone.
And yeah, we do need to watch that too, because in full transparency, there are hotels that will not have ISCA back. There are, like, for a multitude of reasons, there have been hotels that just say, nope, never again. So, and that's where we kind of have to say, like, we're a professional organization. We are classified by the IRS as a professional trade organization. And so, I'm glad that we can have an open professional discussion about how we present ourselves. And just the last thing I want to say is also when we advertise these types of things, it also affects what kind of speakers we can get. There are, it's like there are lots of professional animators and cartoonists and caricature artists who say would do cartoons for Playboy or Hustler or other adult magazines, but they would use a pen name because they didn't want to be. They wanted the paid gig, but they didn't want to be associated with anything that could cost them fans or otherwise. And we deal with that when we put that stuff up on our walls. It affects who we can get. But great question. Thank you for bringing it up. It's an important discussion, and again, I'm glad we are able to have it professionally and openly.
Then the next question was from Katie Green, asking if it was possible to get the blue tape in a different color to help the art on the walls look more like a gallery. Kara already addressed it, but in case other people in the chat missed it, we are restricted by the hotels what we can and cannot use on the wall spaces, because we can't damage wallpaper, paint, whatever may be on the walls. So that does limit us, and that's typically why we are required to use that blue tape. So no plans for changes there. We'd love to have it look as lovely as possible, but we are restricted by the hotels.
Also, talking about, because they asked about how the public night went this past year in Orlando. It was the first time we ever done that. And I thought it went really, really well. It was great little extra money for us, too. Pretty much cost us nothing because the hotel doesn't charge us for how many people come through the door at that particular time. So it was really, I think, really successful. One of the things that I heard sitting at the desk, though, was people were confused. They thought the public were able to vote, and some people were upset about that. And I just wanted to clarify that the public was not able to vote during that time. Only professional members are able to vote at the competition. Alani, I did invite you to speak if you would like to speak, but we do sell tickets for that time. For last year and this year, it is $25 for the public, but if you're a member, it's $5. So it's kind of nice if you live in the area, but you're not planning on going to the con for the whole time. Then you can come in for $5 and check it out and see your friends, and it's pretty nice. Alani, you have to accept the invitation to join the stage for us to hear you. Discord doesn't like you. Well, you can ask in the chat and we'll repeat it for you. In a perfect
An
world.
excellent.
Go ahead, Kelsey, take it.
No, I was just going to say it's an excellent question. What would the board like to see from members? I think, I guess since I'm already talking, I'll handle this first, but this is just from my perspective. Something that I would love to see from members is more engagement and feedback. Because each of us as volunteer board members, we are there elected by the members, and we're here on the board to represent you. So the more feedback, the more engagement that we get from you guys, the better able we are to make decisions going forward, and to bring that feedback into discussions that it applies to. And of course, we all love having more volunteers. So, doing things like joining committees, or if you don't want to take a spot on a committee, offering to help out wherever needed. That's a great way for you as members to kind of, again, learn more about the organization, see how things work on the backside, and just get more familiar with the people in the organization, make more friends and connections, and get a better feel for what ISCA does and what we can do moving forward. That's my answer. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add.
What I would love to see from our members is talk to your friends. Tell them about everything we do. Tell them why ISCA is important to you. There's so many caricature artists out there who I think still perceive ISCA as ISCA-Con. And, even just telling them about our free resources, let them know, like, hey, you can join for free and get some cool, nifty benefits. Again, like the event calendar and whatnot. But really, that's the one thing I would love to see from our members most, is engaging their caricature artist friends or other people that they know who are interested in caricature and saying, go to caricature.org. Like, I don't want to digress too much, but I have this story where I went and I visited a shop, and someone was doing caricatures, and I said, hey, are you part of ISCA? And they said, no. I don't really consider myself a caricature artist, and I said, oh, well, that's cool, that's a step on your journey, right? It's, let's talk about, I'm sure your caricature work informs you as to where you're going to go. And he's like, yeah, I agree. And I said, well, how long have you been a caricature artist for? And he said, 12 years. It's like, how are you not a part of the community after 12 years? Come on, bud. Like, I know he had friends that he worked with, and they were members, but they weren't pushing the organization. Just like, again, it's just educating the people around you as to how ISCA can help you in every aspect. So that's what I would love to see from the members, is just that outward enthusiasm to where, let them know you found your people. Another thing we like to say around here.
I just wanted to touch on Don's question about the Wi-Fi in LA. Yeah, so one of the things about the Wi-Fi at hotels is it used to always be included in the contract and wrapped into your total amount that you would spend. However, over the past 5 years, they've been transitioning out of those type of contracts. Some hotels have providers that don't charge as much money. Like I can tell you, for 2024, we will have Wi-Fi for the entire event at a reasonable rate. But in LA, the internet is very, very expensive, and it's per connection. And because we can't control how many people are going to connect a number of devices for the entire event, we can't control how much money it's going to cost us. It's estimated $10,000, and that's if 200 people connect for 2 days, which is a little conservative. So we're trying to make sure that we do not overspend. You can imagine that if it costs $10,000 for 2 days, it's going to cost exponentially more for the entire time. And we did try to negotiate a better deal for the entire event, and they were not having it. So that's kind of where we're living with the internet. And part of the problem is even if all of the members wanted to put in more money for internet, let's say, do we really want to spend $40,000 on Wi-Fi for the con? To me, that's what we basically spent $40,000 for the whole con last year. So I don't think it's the best use of our money. But I do suggest instead of the members trying to pitch in for more internet Wi-Fi access, get your own hotspot for the rest of the week. Can we require them to bring their own Wi-Fi hotspot? We can't require them to, but we're going to try to make sure to get the word out there. We're going to send out some emails, make a post. We're telling you now, so people aren't surprised when it happens. Of course, there will be people who won't know because you just can't reach everybody, but we're definitely going to try to make sure everybody is aware.
Yes, Jordan, that's correct. I believe the 2 days we have allotted for, right, Kara? One is the voting day, and the other is the competition day, right? Where we will.
It's voting.
Where we will
Thursday, and then the day where we have to vote using ballots, the portfolio day.
No.
Can we share a link to donate to ISCA? Sure can.
It should be that one, right? Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they got ones that actually work. Thank you, Robin. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through the chat, making sure I haven't missed any. I had to answer my door real quick. Were we able to get Alani on stage to ask his question?
He doesn't know how to join the stage. I outside of
Okay.
There should just be a button that says join the stage, but if he either can't find it or doesn't, it's not working for him. Wendy, that's a great suggestion, and we would absolutely love to be able to invite a celebrity, hire a cell company, but can't make promises.
Can you? Yeah, if you've got the hookup, let us know. We'll work on it.
I have no shame emailing people asking them for more. So actually, I'd like to talk about sponsors a little bit, because one of the things we hear a lot is, well, why don't y'all have more sponsors? And let me tell you, we reach out to sponsors. We try really hard to get sponsors and to have sponsors. We reach out to everybody. We have an entire spreadsheet of the companies, the email address, the phone number, what we ask them, what they would give us. It's not for lack of trying. The interest is kind of low as far as sponsoring events where they don't have any ties. If you know somebody, if you have a connection somewhere, that is our best bet for getting a sponsor. So please email me if you have anybody in any kind of organization that you think or company that you think would be a good sponsor, let me know. I will email them. I will call them. We'll, try to get something happening. Don't get me wrong. We are trying to get sponsors. It's a big goal.
Well, and that again turns into the importance of ISCA outside of ISCACon actually is because we have a hard time getting sponsors when a caricature conference, an art conference, that sounds awesome. How many attendees do you have? About 200. They go like, well, I'm not paying $500, $1,000, $2,000 to advertise to 200 people. But when we say your logo is going to be added to our email list, which has 1,600 people, then ears start picking up, and we advertise our broadcast range. So again, that's another reason why ISCA outside of ISCACon is very, very important.
Yes, we've
Also,
sorry, go ahead, Kelsey.
no, that's okay. Fun fact, you can also be a sponsor of ISCACon. So the handy dandy link that Robin posted, you can choose to sponsor the con, and there are various benefits at each level to being a con sponsor. So if it is something that you want to take part in to further support the organization, you can do that.
Yeah, we also would love Crayola and Tombow and Zebra Brush and all of those cool companies to be sponsors, and we reach out to them. If you ever meet somebody higher up in Crayola, to tell them that they should sponsor us too.
Yeah, I mean, I would if I see a lot of great suggestions here, and it's hard for us to go through individually and say yes, yes, no, no. Obviously, we're going to reach out to whoever. My suggestion to you would be write a big old list and email it, and I swear to God, the board will go over it, and we will divvy up people to contact, and we will do. We love suggestions, but I would put that effort into compiling a list and sending it to Kara, and Kara will make sure that it is on our sponsorship spreadsheet, assigned a person to reach out with, and then that person will be followed up with at the next meeting saying, hey, did you reach out to this person? We do have a great process for this, and love the suggestions. Keep them coming. The more you can send all at once so that they can be parsed onto the spreadsheet, the better.
You know what? I'm gonna reach out to Rose Art tomorrow.
I am going to ask a question of those still in the audience. What would you like to see from the board?
Oh, the sweats I get when Discord gets so overpowered. It stops saying who's typing. It just says several people are typing after a question like that, Kelsey. What would you like to see from the
You're
board?
welcome.
All I hear is tap, 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 tap. I'm not even in the same room. Fevered typing.
Alani did ask why we want to grow ISCA.
I mean, again, the reason why we exist is the IRS classifies us as a trade organization, which exists to spread the art of caricature and let people know about all the wonderful things about caricature. So if we are doing our jobs properly, we are getting as many artists as we can on the same page, which is of growing and being better professionals in their field, making sure they're doing best practices when they're out working, and we want to make sure they're helping. We're giving them the resources to create the best art they possibly can all year round, not just 1 week at ISCACon. And then again, we also want to grow ISCA in terms of reach to the public, because again, that's the entire reason our organization exists as a nonprofit, is to say, hey everyone, caricature might not be what you think. Let's get you educated. So when you see like some of these viral videos going on around caricature, and some people have preconceived notions of what caricature is, like, oh, I hate these things, they always make you look ugly. Like, I feel like it should be the duty of the organization, maybe we should have a page that says what is caricature, and helps the public understand what it is, what caricature is at all. And then again, for our direct members, giving them a spot to improve both artistically and professionally. That's why I would like to see ISCA grow, personally.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate that, Chris. The great thing is, I was a live caricaturist for 11 years, and I have a lot of artist friends in other fields and such. And it wasn't until, like what Chris commented on, these video trends over the last couple of years, where we're seeing all these caricaturists worldwide, and I'm having all these other friends of mine who are non-artists, sharing these videos of all these other caricaturists, and it's, I think that in itself has been wonderful. Just a little peek into our world, a world that previously I wasn't able to share as well or as much with other people in other circles. And so for me, growing ISCA and celebrating this art, this is a big thing from the reason I'm here on the board and in my efforts. As well as I know everyone here on the board is so passionate about the art of caricature. But these are part of the reason that we're here to do that. And then, of course, to grow the audience and the community that we already have here in ISCA.
And I just want to say thanks to Kara for putting our mission and values in the chat. I was going to take this moment to reread our mission statement, which Chris and I, a couple years ago, Kelsey and Jeremy just weren't on the board at that time. But we wrote our mission statement truly to guide us in everything we do as a board. We ask, is this on mission? And our mission is, we celebrate caricature as an art form. We promote caricature as a valuable commodity on a global and local scale. We strive to be the definitive professional resource for all those seeking knowledge about caricature, and we cultivate a diverse global community that connects, inspires, and entertains through caricature. So growing our organization, growing awareness about caricature is all totally on mission for our organization.
I feel like the only one that didn't say anything about that. I agree with all of that. Again, like I said, I come from a little bit different perspective, but I will say that those of you that know Eric Rodevelt, my husband, he's, yeah, there. He joined the organization several years ago, and he called me the night that he got to his very first ISCACon, and he said, I found my people. And he was so excited. And I remember thinking like, oh yeah, that's great. And the first in-person con that I attended was this last year. And I can say that it is a group of people that I didn't anticipate the feeling of family, community, whatever word you want to pick to fill that in, that I felt walking into that room, not knowing anyone other than my husband and a few other people. So this is a very unique group of people, and I think that it's a very welcoming group of people. And part of what Chris was mentioning with some of that, some of the stereotyping of like, oh, you're going to draw me ugly type stuff. I think a lot of it is just making sure that people know that we exist and knowing that we are such a creative group of people and incredibly supportive of each other, which is a very unique thing. So I think that it's important, like we've talked about, mentioning things in conversations to people. I would love to grow ISCA because I think that it's a fantastic group of people, and there's other fantastic people in the world that should be hanging out with all of us. So I will add that. And I've also been seeing in the chat a couple people talking about, let me see where it was, sorry, about instruction courses or caricature courses for beginners. This is another thing that I know that we've talked about, or that the board has talked about. Same thing as sponsors. If you have people that you'd love to hear from on beginner instruction, send us lists of people. Send us ideas, send us whatever you want. Again, feedback is a huge part of this. And we would love to be able to offer those things and offer it with your feedback, telling us who you want to hear from, who you appreciate learning from as well. So please do that also.
I also wanted to mention that on part of our membership resources is the Caricature 101s that are recorded at the seminars, and the ones that are older than 3 years old are available for the public to view, and the ones from the past 3 years are available for the professional members. So if you're a professional member and you really want to see the Caricature 101s from the past 3 years, you can go check them out on the website right now. Also, I wanted to mention Alani's question about the website, or maybe not the website, just information in general, but I would definitely add like website translation to different languages to one of my tasks. It's something I can definitely look into. We use a software basically that creates our website and helps manage our membership. So sometimes our features can be limited on the website, but it's something that I think is really worth researching and figuring out if it's possible.
Also, one of the next step on the wiki is to have an automatic translator installed so that all of that information becomes available. That's very high on my to-do list. Like I said, it's just in the last year or so, having taken on more responsibilities within the organization, the wiki is, while functional, has not received any major updates in the last year or so. So that will be coming. Yes. Yeah. Well, guys, I'm going to propose we've got time for one more question, if there is one. I just want to make sure that you all know that it seems like things are winding down, and that you can always reach out to any given one of us at any point. We're always happy to hear from you and engage directly. Yeah, I will say, if you've got one, we will field one more. Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up. Does the board stand as us? I'm not.
Does the board
Does
stand
the
as
board?
us?
I'm not sure.
So the
I'm not
board
sure I understand
is
the question.
Christopher Tamlin, Jeremy Martinez, Kelsey Rodefelt, and Robin Schwartzman. The election happens in the fall, so you'll start seeing elections and campaigns happening in August. So if you missed it in the beginning, Kelsey talked about Ash stepped down at the beginning of this year, and so because there was a vacancy, the board is able to fill that vacancy, and we offered the seat to Kelsey, and she accepted. So in August, because she is filled as a vacancy, she will have to run to maintain and stay on the board. And I think everybody else is going to run too, right? This year? Yeah. She is an asset. Of course, yeah, gotta vote for her in the election. Are the comments also recorded? Yes, They are. Yes, you can see them when it's uploaded.
And regarding a second meeting, this is the annual business meeting. The board itself meets at least once a month, typically the first Tuesday of every month. And if you want something addressed, you can either reach out to any one of us. But yeah, this town hall happens once a year. But we will be hosting other events. Like I said, we'll be doing our quarterly caricature barbecue. That should be coming up late April, early May for the next one. Working to get that announcement made. Just trying to get a contract signed. And so obviously we'll be able to talk about anything ISCA related at those events also. But this is the only business meeting where we provide a slideshow of all the goings on.
Yeah, we really appreciate y'all being here and hearing us out and asking questions, being engaged. It makes a really big difference. It helps us a lot when we're making, especially the board. I don't know if everybody here knows this, but I don't get to vote. So the board, the official board, all gets to vote. And whenever I do sit in board meetings, and they really do take the things that y'all are saying and bringing up and discussing very seriously. Everything that the members have concerns about or ideas about is discussed and gone over, and really, really, they take it into thoughtful consideration. So, thanks for being here.
Alani, I did just send you another invite. Typically there's a button on the bottom of the screen that says join the stage. I'm not sure. Yeah, I wish I could help you out. Yeah, I mean, this is a relatively new feature for Discord, but typically Discord updates automatically before it starts. I've been late to meetings because Discord forced an update. So I'm really not sure. It might not be available on the particular device you're on if you're not on a laptop or an iPad. But it's a button right at the bottom of the screen. It says join the stage or request to join stage. So now you see okay, so now he sees accept. So let's try that one more time. I just sent you another invite, Alani. But it went away. I can try one more time. I sent it again. Okay, all right. Well, sorry about the technical difficulties there, Alani. Yeah, please do feel free to reach out if you want it. If you want it to be a public discussion, I would highly encourage you head on over to the Facebook Pro Members group and start a post if you want to have a public discussion about anything in particular. And obviously, happy to chime in and answer any questions for anybody. Yeah, looks like we pulled in at just under 2 hours. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody who showed up. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for taking an active part in your community. I ask again, go out there, be enthusiastic, let all your friends know about what a great job ISCA has been doing in making leaps, bounds, and huge progress in every aspect due to these fine board members and executive director and EF editor. Thank you to my fellow board members. I will say my last goodbye and pass the floor open to anyone else who wants to say anything. You're all better than other people. Follow your dreams.
Just to reiterate, thank you so much, everyone. Your presence here really means a lot to us as board members. It reminds us that, we're doing this and that there are people on the other end who are receptive to that. So we appreciate you all.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for joining. It was great to talk to you guys for a minute. And yeah, glad to get to know everyone even more this year.
Yeah, I echo the same things. I'm glad everybody showed up. We were able to share a lot of information and very much appreciate all the feedback, the great questions. Like we said, we feed off of that for all the decisions that we make going forward. So thank you for taking the time and thank you for engaging with us. This has been incredibly helpful.
All right, guys. Take care. And if you need anything, have any questions, again, reach out to us. Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.